Hello everyone, welcome to another Table Talk review. Today we're reviewing Fromage.
Fromage is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, and about 40 minutes long.
So a little bit of how this game works and plays. The theme is that you're making cheese in France, and it's a worker placement where the board rotates, and then you get your workers back at various other turns, depending on where you place them on your board. Anyway, so let's look at some of them, just to show off. So each board, or each section, has a place at the bottom, which is where you're making your cheese or showing it off. In this case, it's the festival. And then they're up here, there's also places for resources, because after you assemble it, this will go essentially kind of like this. And then, for example, that will be building resources, or fruit, or whatever other resources. And you're trying to, well, score points. And each section has its own point scoring method. Mm-hmm. This one, you're trying to clump things together.
And, this is how you would put the cheese here and put your worker there. Just like that.
So, yes. During your turn, you would put one there, and then you would be able to do one at the resources.
Yes. And I like how it fits nicely in there.
And then as the board rotates, as the player pieces look back at you, that's when you can grab them back. So sometimes you may have a turn without pieces. Sometimes you might have one or two. Yeah, maybe even all three.
That depends how long the people have to sit making the cheese, aging the cheese.
Or how long they take some to gather more resources.
Yeah.
Because more resources takes more time. So the board I like is it's double layered. Thank you. Because it's got to have that little recess so you can put the cheese in, but it also has inserts for replayability or the change the player count. So this insert would be for 3 players. It would actually eliminate some options for 3 players. But there's also one for 1 to 2 players. There's one for 4 players, or you cannot put any insert for 4 players. So 4 players actually has like 3 variations of the boards. But anyway, I like the double layered components or the board.
And that's in retail. Like, we have limited edition, which includes the neoprene mat right here that helps you kind of spin the board a little bit easier.
Acts as a lazy Susan.
Yeah. And then we have wooden tokens versus cardboard.
But my version or limited edition does come with some cardboard pieces for numbers. So like you would use this for a 3 or 5 berries when you just have a lot of them to cash them in for, do that. But yeah, no, the wooden tokens, as far as my edition, even the cardboard ones are nice. Mm-hmm. The cards are nice quality. All the board itself is nice. The neoprene mat is nice. The player pieces, which come in a variety of types. We have the player workers, essentially, where we have like the hard cheese, the soft cheese, and the blue cheese. But then you also have the player wedges, which will kind of be your I took this spot, now it scores for me.
Yes. And it fits nicely in the board. And you puzzle the board together so you can always change what sits next to each other.
Yes, and also this resource thing that goes in the center is also double-sided for replayability. Hence, the berry and the card are opposite on this side, but then on this side they're next to each other. Mm-hmm. So it adds another element of changing the board up a little bit.
Yes, and then another element of replayability is these different powers that each player can have, because the player board is asymmetrical. Everybody starts with different resources and different powers, but these, if you wanted to, you can draft them
and replace these guys at the
your
top.
Player power.
Yeah, as she mentioned, they're already asymmetric a little bit, as you can see, but they're all parallel. So like all these are an extra worker spot or points, bonus points. And then these cheese making spots are a little different, where this one has a bronze soft cheese, where on this board it's a bronze blue cheese. So that's a little different on each board as well.
And then on the other side, it's the solo play.
So, which I like how it has different complexities. So, because the solo corporation has different rules. And this is like a level 1 star, and this is a 4-star difficulty. So, I really think that'd be really cool. I'll have to give solo play a try.
And I do like that they give you 2 resource containers so you can split it up.
Yeah, on different sides of the table. Let's see. The score pad is nice. It's double-sided.
Although I think they could have shrunk it or like, made more score pads. Like I like that it's double-sided, but it's pretty big. I feel like it could have been half.
A lot of
size
writing space.
Yeah, we can write small, fit in smaller squares. Okay, but the rule book is 16 pages. And the font is pretty big, lots of pictures, so I think it's an easy read.
I mean, the player boards I think are nice. They're nice, sturdy cardboard, opposed to some games where it's actually the kind of thinness of this guy. But this is an insert; it's supposed to be thin, which I like. They're pretty good insert. The board I mentioned already. The double layer is pretty cool. The wooden component's nice. The cardboard pieces are nice, which are going to be more abundant in the retail edition. I upgraded with a neoprene mat. I think it's really nice as well. The only issue I have with that is there's a little wooden peg piece that goes here to kind of hold everything in place. It's a little too tall, but other than that...
Yeah, so this doesn't slide. It doesn't sit flush with the board. It's like sometimes slide around a little bit.
It's poking up a little bit.
So the box does not have an insert, but there is a diagram of how to store everything in the box. Here's the diagram. And right here, you roll up the neoprene mat and, have it sit diagonally, but the box...
a little longer.
The neoprene mat is a little too big for the box, so it crinkles at one end, and I don't like the crinkle. I wish they made the box a little bit bigger.
Just that
Because
much.
even when we, roll it really tight, it still crinkles, and in my opinion, ruins the mat.
Yeah, it'll probably ruin over time, but that's why, when I've been rolling it up, I try to rotate it.
Yes,
it's
but
not doing that in the same corner every time.
I just don't like looking at that. Thankfully, I don't look at it too long because you put the board on top of it.
Yeah, the board sits on it. It's fine.
But
Even though it's really nice artwork for what it is.
Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is these tiles that change the powers, they have the description of it on the other side. And I like that you don't have to reference the rulebook of what does this mean? Are you ready to give your rating?
Yes, sure. So, I really like this game. I really like that it has a lot of kind of modular components that can change up the board quite a bit. I do enjoy the worker placement aspect, and I think it's different. You got definitely, thinking, when am I going to get that worker back, and when I do, am I going to use it on the board? Because if I want to use it anywhere else, I got to plan for it, which I really like that future planning a little bit, but not too much, and it's simultaneous play, so I think it goes relatively quick. Your first game might be a little long, just because you're trying to absorb the game, but once you get it, it's pretty simple, I think.
Yeah.
And because of that, my rating overall is a gotta have it. I really do like this game. This might be my favorite worker placement at this time.
Okay. So I do agree with everything you said. I like simultaneous play. It speeds up the game a little bit. It's very interesting about having to figure out what worker to use for what location. And I like how you could change the game and keep it fresh. Like the replayability is there for sure.
Adding the advanced buildings or changing the boards a little bit, or even flipping this around just to change when you're going to get those resources.
For sure. So, my rating of this game is also gotta have it. I do enjoy the worker, that's one of my favorite mechanics. I don't know if it's my favorite worker placement, but it's a different one, compared to the other worker placement games we have.
Yes.
So, yes. So, our rating is gotta have it.
Gotta have it. So much so that we can't wait for expansion. They gave me a little advertisement for an expansion that's coming called Fromage. coming soon to Kickstarter. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, this is to kind of tell me how the Lazy Susan works, which I think is cool. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below, and we'll see you next one.
Bye-bye for now.